everybody. This is, as always, the Club of the Man 1993 coming at you for the 10th edition of my WWF and WWE Summerslam Retro Review Series. As we're now on SummerSlam 1997. We're going to take a look back, of course, at everything that happened again, as we've been doing so. 1997 SummerSlam is pretty similar to 1996's SummerSlam, in my honest opinion. I gave it the same grade as 1996, I believe. I can't remember if I gave it a C or C minus for 1996, but I gave this one a C again. I think I gave it a C. It's a similar show, a bunch of forgettable matches for the most part at the beginning. But then the last two matches pretty much what saved this show from being an absolute waste of time. Unfortunately, though, this show did consist of an injury that did cost, significant time for a certain superstar, and this was his first SummerSlam also as well. Despite the fact that they didn't have that great of a match, it also, was, towards the beginning of, their popularity increasing, which is the opening match. I'll talk about that. And, of course, that main event that led to, a feud that would have a historical moment, at Survivor Series 1997 as well. So let's get right into this. I'm going to just fly through these again because there's not really too much to say about most of these matches. This took place on August 3rd, 1997, a little bit earlier, at the Continental Airlines Arena in East Rutherford, New Jersey. We opened up with a steel cage match. It was Mr. Hunter Hearst Helmsley with Chyna taking on Mankind. Now, this is around the time where Triple H was, he was still going by Hunter Hearst Helmsley, but they were, he was getting away from that, rich prince gimmick or whatever, rich, jerk prince, or whatever you want to call him, like a William Regal type gimmick that we saw from SummerSlam 1996. And then, of course, Mick Foley, was, slowly becoming a lot more popular as a babyface. Last year, in 1996, he was, part of the heel in the Boiler Room Brawl against Undertaker, but, him taking the cage dive and just being the hardcore legend he was, it was him becoming even more popular babyface, and he also, showed off, the dude love gimmick also, in him as well, towards the end of the match. But the match, for what it was, wasn't one of the best matches. We all know they definitely have a lot better matches, in the upcoming years. This is also around the time when Triple H was also, nearing the forming of D-Generation X. Of course, him and Chyna, were, partnered up, and she was trying to, be his, his heater in this match as well, as, she was trying to help Triple H, win the match. Unfortunately, again, there was just a few spots here and there, but nothing really too spectacular. It's not one of the best matches you would definitely see out of Mick Foley and Triple H. Somehow, though, even though Chyna was trying to pull Triple H out of the cage, Mick Foley jumped off the cage with Chyna trying to really stop him. That's how I won the match. Afterwards, it's only with the whole dude love gimmick started. But with that, we had him doing a couple of dangerous moves as well, which was gaining popularity from him becoming who he's known for today as well. So it was still planting the seeds for better things to come for these two. Match itself, though, was just all right. Wasn't one of the best opening matches, but we definitely know they have a lot better matches down the line between these two. So Mankind wins by escape. It was just an okay opener. Then we had this match. It was Brian Pillman taking on Goldust with Marlena. This match was really that good. Brian Pillman. This match was 2 months before Brian Pillman passed away, unfortunately. His body was just so worn down. Goldust tried to carry the match best he could. It just really did not work at all for the most part. And I guess there was some suit on a mannequin that Pillman was going to wear on Raw if he didn't win the match. So he beat up the mannequin afterwards because of him being embarrassed or whatnot. So wasn't really anything good at all. Again, just he couldn't do much at all around this time, and he eventually would have died 2 months later, unfortunately. So that's really it for that. Legions of Doom versus the Godwins. Legions of Doom were definitely also getting towards the end of their careers also, so their matches weren't really anything spectacular. And of course, the Godwins, they were just there. They weren't really anything too special either for the most part. So that match was a little, underwhelming for the most part. Nothing really felt was too special about that either. Again, I don't have as much to really say about it. or the fact that most of these guys were just, newer talent were starting to come in, but a lot of talent, were either, close to leaving, leaving WCW, going to WWF to go into WCW, or, a lot of people are just, just don't have the same thing, anymore, what they used to have. That's the case here with Legion of Doom. Was actually kind of decent though, and it did set like an angle for the establishing gimmick though for this wrestler is the match between British Bulldog and Ken Shamrock. The match, wasn't too bad. It was decent for the most part. But of course, the noteworthy part towards the end of the match, even though it was with a dog food container, British Bulldog won by disqualification after Ken Shamrock attacked him with a with a dog food container. But Ken Shamrock was someone known. He was known to snap, and people enjoyed the energy he presented. Of course, when he snapped, pretty much that's what happened when he battled The Rock. Well, Rocky Maivia, for the Intercontinental Championship, I believe it was, or it could have been. I can't remember if Rock was Rocky Maivia or if it was when The Rock was becoming going into that different direction. But this is Ken Shamrock's gimmick, being developed pretty much. He didn't like it when people ripped him off and whatnot in matches, so he would snap on certain occasions, and he just beat down the British Bulldog. So Bulldog won by DQ. The match game was decent. It could have been probably a little better if it had a clean finish, but it worked because it helped develop the character of Ken Shamrock pretty much. That's why I found that acceptable of a match, a decent match. So far, probably one of the best matches on the show until we got towards the end. Of course, we had this match also. This 8-man tag match. It was just a mess. It was Los Boricos, what I call it, Salvio Vega, Miguel Perez, Jesus Castillo, and Jose Estrada taking on Disciples of the Apocalypse, Crush, Chains, 8-Ball, and Skull. What was this? I really thought this match was just ugly. It was pointless. It was just messy and all over the place. I just did not quite get it at all. The Nation of Domination came out for to get involved in the fight after Los Boricos won the match by pinfall. Afterwards, they had this big brawl between all 12 of them. And then Ahmed Johnson, I think it was, or whoever it was, drove his motorcycle down to disrupt the whole fight or whatever it was. It was just all messy. It was weird. It was just an ugly brawl. I just couldn't follow it at all. Pretty much, definitely the worst match on this show, I'd say, was this 8-man tag match. Of course, we get into the good stuff though. The two matches that definitely saved this show from being an absolute flop, as I said. The first one was Owen Hart taking on Stone Cold Steve Austin for the WWF Intercontinental Championship. Now again, this was months after Stone Cold Steve Austin pulled off that double turn with Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13. And Stone Cold Steve Austin went as a heel, but at the end of the match, people were cheering for Stone Cold Steve Austin, booing Bret Hart, and Bret Hart, of course, character-wise, felt betrayed. Of course, this was also, well, actually, I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Eventually, though, stuff happened with him and Owen Hart. I guess I can't remember if it was Heartbeat pinned Austin in a 5-on-5 tag match, or I think he did, and he wanted to prove that he could beat Stone Cold Steve Austin pretty much. The match happened. The match was going really good. Of course, Owen being the crafty heel and Stone Cold Steve Austin being, the badass that just never gives in or anything or gives up, which was established very well in the submission match at WrestleMania 13. So that moment with the blood coming out of Austin's face was just unreal. Unfortunately, though, this match probably had a good 5 minutes left in it, though. It got cut off, though, because this was the match where Stone Cold Steve Austin hurt his neck. Apparently, it happened because when Owen Hart did that pile driver, I think they told him to land on his knees when he did the pile driver. Instead, he landed on his butt. And because he landed on his butt, the effect on Austin's head was was you know was severe pretty much, and that's what caused the injury. I mean, he knew he was injured pretty badly, so they had to modify the finish pretty much. Like Owen just talking trash to the crowd, and Austin just rolled him up for the pinfall victory. He won the match once he had to be helped out, and that's where Austin was like slowed down. He was very limited and on borrowed time pretty much. Well, I should say borrowed time because he wanted to be successful, but he was very limited. How often he could wrestle. Unfortunately, if he became a big star, over a 6 or 7 year career, or how long he was in the WWF, imagine what he could have done if he was a lot more healthier. If this neck injury never really happened. I mean, the match was great. Could have been considered a little bit better if they would have given it 5 more minutes. But the finish definitely hurt it as well. Of course, it was nobody's fault. But this match could have been nearing a classic if it was for that. But Austin still won, come the Intercontinental Champion. Again, I don't think he would probably last it too long since he had that neck injury. But it was obvious there was something wrong with him as he just shattered his neck pretty much from this. But of course, with this match being cut a little bit shorter, it did kind of give a little bit more time for this match. But I feel like the main event was affected a little bit by the extra time it was given. The WWF Championship match. It was The Undertaker taking on Bret Hart. With a special guest referee, Shawn Michaels. And if Hart lost, then himself and HBK couldn't wrestle in the United States anymore. Well, the match happened, and the match was going pretty good. Of course, there have been the rumors of the backstage real life heat between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, and they try to incorporate that into the real storyline here. The most notable moment of the match, of course, the big eye opener was towards the end of the match where, there was things, causing to implode between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. Even Shawn Michaels promised to be, unbiased and, draw it down, call it down the middle. Bret pushed him over the edge. He spit in his face, and, because, Michael saw a chair laying around, and he thought that Bret attacked Undertaker with it. Well, when Shawn gets ticked off after Bret spits in his face, and you see, Bret was just, he was just mad at he didn't like HBK, he didn't like Mr. McMahon. He gave Mr. McMahon the finger during this match, also, by the way. But then towards the end of the match, when Bret spit on Shawn grabbed the chair and went to smash Bret Hart with it. He accidentally hit Undertaker with it. So because he did that, Bret pinned him, and Shawn had no choice but the count and let him win, even though he was mad at him. But he saved his career for wrestling in the United States again. But it was a controversial finish. I think this probably would plant the seeds eventually for an Undertaker and Shawn Michaels feud. Also, of course, what happened next though with Shawn and Bret though, as they would have the match at Survivor Series 1997, where the Montreal Screwjob took place, and after that's where Bret Hart went off to WCW, where he spent the rest of his career there before he came back to WWE years later. And of course, had that feud with Mr. McMahon leading into WrestleMania 26, which a lot of people didn't really like at all. I mean, yeah, it wasn't that great, but it still was good for what it was. At least I felt with Bret Hart just beating the crap out of Mr. McMahon, because who wouldn't want to see Mr. McMahon get his ass kicked in 2010, in my honest opinion. Yeah, and also I didn't mention also from the match between Owen Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin. If Stone Cold Steve Austin lost the match, he would have had to kiss Owen Hart's ass. That didn't happen though, because Austin won the match. But yeah, so that controversial finish definitely an eye opener. I feel like that would be a match. That moment there would definitely be a match that'd be like an eye opener to I feel like I would maybe consider that moment for the list of my last top 10 I just did this past week of the top 10 moments that could draw in a wrestling fan. May not be a top 10, but I feel like it is one noteworthy of saying could happen. But yeah, I mean, the match again was good, but because the previous match got time cut off it because of the injury of Stone Cold Steve Austin, it did definitely hurt this match a little bit more with it being longer than it should have been, pretty much for the most part. So overall, yeah, the last 2 matches, once again, to say SummerSlam. The match before that were unforgettable, nothing special. Give it a C. We'll grade you a SummerSlam 1997. Leave thoughts down in the comment section below. And as always, sure to click my like, subscribe to our content company's channel. Follow me on Twitter at DemandAirboy93. And with that, guys, I'm checking out. I will see you all later. So until then, guys, have a great night. Peace out, everybody.